The Ryan Goodman and Tanguay podcast is brought to you by FanDuel, the exclusive wagering partner of the CLNS Media Network. All right, guys, it's time to get to it. Big week in the NBA. We're going to talk draft. We're going to talk the Beal deal. And also, Larry Brown still coaching at 82 years old. All that coming up on the show with Bob Ryan, Jeff Goodman, Gary Tanguay along for the ride. And we are brought to you by FanDuel. Baseball season is in full swing, and there's no better place to get on the action than FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, because right now new customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. Okay, at the time of the recording of this, breaking news, as they love to say, Bradley Beal is leaving the Wizards, been sent to the Phoenix Suns in exchange for Chris Paul, Landry Shamet, second-round picks, pick swaps, according to Woj and Shams. So this is a done deal. Jeff, let's start with you. Did you think that does this surprise you at all?
I mean, it's like they got a ham sandwich for Bradley Beal. You know, I mean, what did they get? You got Chris Paul and his contract that they're going to flip. The Wizards have no use for Chris Paul, and he's got 2 years left at a ton of money. I thought you got a nickel on the dollar for Bradley Beal. I know he's got that no trade clause. I know that that's something that a lot of teams wanted to stay away from, but still to get this little for Bradley Beal was absolutely baffling. And honestly, I'm disappointed that the Celtics didn't make a legitimate play because they could have given more. Now, again, more is relative because Michael Winger didn't want 3 years left on a Marcus Smart deal for $60 million, right? He's going to be able to flip Chris Paul here. But I still think maybe he could have flipped Marcus Smart's contract. So I don't know. I mean, again, I don't know what went on behind the scenes with these talks. I just feel like, again, the Suns, man, KD, Booker, Beal, they're probably going to have to move Ayton, I think, but who knows? That's a hell of a trio offensively.
I'll go right to that one because I agree. Nothing I can add to the Washington thing. I'm confused. You know, there's got to be some reason. I think I'm going to give Michael Winger the benefit of the doubt that he's a smart guy, that he had to do this this way, and I'll give him that benefit of the doubt. I'll extend that. Phoenix, that new big three. The thing that I start with is not the key necessarily, but one aspect of this, which is, you know, sobering for the rest of the world. Kevin Durant can play with anybody.
Yeah.
Kevin Durant is easy to play with, and you know he'll adjust. He'll whatever is good for Bradley Beal and it won't hurt Kevin Durant. That's what Bradley Beal is going to get, and that's a formidable trio. There's no question. So it's just you're just talking about the money factor that they on Ayton or any other reason, Jeff.
Yeah, the money factor more than anything. I mean, now you got three high priced dudes. Yeah. I don't know how they're right now. They have 5 guys under contract. I don't know how they're even going to fill out their roster.
Yeah,
right now with paying Ayton that much money, and they don't love Ayton. You know, again, I don't think they love him. The question is again, and I do think he's movable. You know, DeAndre Ayton still. You can say what you want about him. He's still one of the better bigs in the NBA. He can rebound. He can run. He can block shots. He can finish. He's good. I mean, listen, he's better than Robert Williams. Now, he's not the shot blocker Robert Williams is, but he's a better overall player than a guy like Robert Williams.
Well, he's more reliable, obviously.
That too.
Many people, you know, we've gone over that one a million times. The only worst thing about Robert Williams is that you don't know if you're going to have him. So but that's going to be very, very interesting. And I think Booker's head's usually in the right place too, don't you think? So
yeah, I like it. I mean, again, Beal's never played with anybody really good. Now he's playing with 2.
You pointed that out last week. That was a very good point. Yeah.
So now it seems to me Beal's your number 3, Gary. He's your number 3
I know.
scoring option.
I know.
Like that's incredible now to have him as your 3rd guy. And really, KD's probably become your 2nd guy. And oh, by the way, I'm not sure there's 5 guys you take over Kevin Durant right now still if you're drafting a team. So you're telling me, to me, you've got 3 of the top 25-ish players in the NBA. And if you throw Ayton in there, it's probably 4 of the top 50 players in the NBA. The question is, again, how do you round out your roster and defensively? Because now they have time to play together. That was the one thing last year for Phoenix, right? They got KD. He was hurt. They never had a chance to gel. Chris Paul got hurt again in the playoffs. And it'll be interesting to see where Chris Paul lands. If it's, it sounds like maybe the Clippers.
Rumors are Clippers, right? That's what we've all been hearing that. Rumors are Clippers, a redux with the Clippers, which, that I think we agreed that what he needed and what a team that only needed him to make the final piece of a puzzle thing, and understanding his foibles in terms of the health thing at all, which the Clippers obviously would.
Now you got three of them, though. The Clippers, you got your three best players. You have no idea if any of them are going to play on any given night. So, why should we take you seriously at all as a contender?
I'm not.
Shouldn't. Right.
That window closed, though. But but still, if it's the Clippers, I think we can identify a few teams that would make better sense in a sense, than that. But
would you take Chris Paul? I know we talked about this last pod. You would take Chris Paul at what price, Bob? Would you take?
I know. Well, see, I jumped to a conclusion and right away, and I said, I think it would make sense. And then you reminded me that good luck trying to hope he's going to show up when you need him. Right. And that's true. So the answer is probably not. In theory, if I thought I was going to get the games that I needed out of him, then I'd say yes, he would be a nice fit. But I would, that's it. He would be, but there's no reason for us to think it's going to change.
Jeff brought up the point, and I'll throw this at you, Bob, first. How come the Celtics weren't able to pull this off? My initial reaction is, even though Bradley Beal is friends with Jason Tatum, his best chance to win a ring is in Phoenix. Right?
Well, it depends. It depends if you had to get rid of Jaylen Brown or not. If you said Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and Bradley Beal, I actually think your chances are because the Celtics will have more around those three than the Suns, and they're younger. That's the one thing. KD's hurt a ton. Beal's been hurt the last couple of years. I think he'll be fine. So I don't know.
I don't know, Jeff. I don't know, and Bob, I don't know if they're the destination we want them to be after the train wreck this last postseason.
Yeah. I mean,
again, if I'm sitting there, this is honestly what I'm thinking. Because Jeff, when you brought it up, I was like, okay, well, let's play this out. If I'm Beal, and Beal's what, 30? How old's Beal?
30. He's turning 30.
Okay, so he's 30, right? So he says, I can go to Boston, and he knows Jason Tatum, so they probably talk. So he knows what the deal is there, right?
Right.
They've had instability with the coach. Now I know they're bringing in Sam Cassell. Jaylen Brown went in the tank. Marcus is a pain in the ass. I don't know. Is it going to work? If I go to Phoenix, I'm playing probably with two Hall of Famers. Booker Hall of Famer. Bob, I'll let you jump in here, Bob. You're playing with two Hall of Famers in Phoenix, and you got a chance to win it next year.
Yeah, they're still, depth. It's top-heavy team because the depth was an issue last year.
But, we talked about depth with the Celtics. But then when you get into the playoffs, they had all this depth, and it didn't mean squat.
Well, I could question the way they were employed myself.
Okay, all right.
And I still think there was a sufficient depth. You don't need 10, 11. My big thing during the regular season is, no other team could miss three guys as high starters and have 8 guys in double figures because they actually had legitimate NBA players at the end of the bench. But in the playoffs, it doesn't matter unless you're dealing with injury or severe foul trouble. Anyway, Phoenix, that is an issue. They have very questionable depth. They had it, and they got rid of this. Part of that was Landry Shamet, and so anyway. They got work to do. This will remind me of, I'll give you, for instance, this will be, I think, somewhat analogous to the 07-08 Celtics. Once they picked up the big three, before they did, when I first got them, I believe that they had, I said I wouldn't trade their remaining 8 for any other, no other team in the league would want their remaining 8 as opposed to what they got. And then they went out and they got Eddie House, and they got Posey, and eventually got PJ Brown, and they had Brown, and they got what they needed. Phoenix, they got to add on. I'm not crowning.
No, you're right. They got to find more than just like a Blake Griffin who sits on the end of the bench, who's a veteran who wants
No,
a ring.
they need a Bruce Brown. Who's the next Bruce Brown? Who's the next Brogdon?
PJ Tucker, those types.
That's what
that
they
can still
need.
play.
They need a couple of them.
Well, they need a really good defender. What they need to find is an elite level defender that doesn't need the ball in their hands but can make an open shot. That's what they need.
Bruce Bowen, the next Bruce Bowen, right? That's it.
That type.
That is exactly.
The kid like Matisse Thybulle, who was on, he'd be perfect. Somebody like that, a wing defender, a big wing defender, who again can just make an open shot because they're going to get him whenever they want. Like those three dudes, whoever's playing with them, they're going to be open every time.
Okay, time to take a break from the fellas here to tell you about FanDuel. As baseball is in full swing, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now, new customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's up to $1,000 back in bonus bets. If your first bet doesn't win, just go to FanDuel.com/Boston to join today. Hey, taking a look at Major League Baseball right now. How about the O's? How about Baltimore, the Orioles? Finally, they seem to be on a bit of a roll. So don't miss your chance to snag a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000 when you join FanDuel today. Just go to FanDuel.com/Boston to sign up. FanDuel is the official partner of Major League Baseball. Major League Baseball trademarks used with permission. 21 plus and present in Mass. First online real money wager only. $10 deposit required. Refund issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Hope is here. GamblingHelplineMA.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support. Play it smart from the start. GameSenseMA.com or call 800-GAM-1234.
Yeah.
Okay, but what do you think of my theory, though, Jeff, about that he looks at the two teams and he goes, and he has some inside information from Tatum, and he just thinks I have a better chance to win in Phoenix, not because of talent, but because of team chemistry.
I just don't know if Brad made any offer. I just don't know if Brad was active at all. And again,
it had to be, though, don't you think?
Well, here's
not necessarily.
Right. The dilemma Brad's in, too, is you know how this works. If you go to him, and again, the interesting part of this is you would have had to flip a lot of other contracts if you got him and didn't have to trade Jaylen Brown, right? And again, I just don't see a scenario that Washington wanted Marcus Smart, that they really wanted Robert Williams even. They're not taking Brogdon or Derek White. They don't want those guys with multiple years left on their contracts that are making good money right now that are older. They have no desire for that. So I just don't know how much it worked anyway. I feel like Brad probably called and they got off the phone saying like, yeah, this probably isn't going to work with what we have and what we need.
And what they want. So, So I agree. And that's the other thing, Gary, we do not know. It's still an open question. It's a subject of debate for us and every other people that are yapping on TV and radio right now. As to what moves whether they should make a major move or whether they come back with the core group and hope yet again that they'll figure it out, and that's a possibility. There's no guarantee they're going to make a major move, none that I know of. There's no indication.
No, there isn't.
That's an option, and it's an option that I think most people favor. Most people who care about the team, whether they're media or fans, I think most people, not everybody. But I think a plurality, favor it. But we don't know what they're thinking yet in that regard. Whether they think that, because I maintain that their flaws are all correctable.
They are.
They're correctable.
Most of them. I mean,
it's not technical. Once again, it's not technicality. They can play the game. They just damn well better do it better. Than
yes, I would agree with that. I think, if you told me right now that Jaylen Brown is going to learn how to pass the ball at a higher rate to make people better consistently. That's I call me crazy, but I feel like that's the most correctable flaw at this point. If he can do that, like Again, Marcus Smart's knocking all this. So he's been better. He's gotten better, but he's never going to. But you've got enough other guys in Derek White and Brogdon. And to me, the issue is Jaylen Brown being more than just a scorer who can't really create for himself in the half court. He can, but he can't. At times he can, but not when he puts it on the floor. He can one dribble pull up or an open three. He can, although he shot 34% from three. I feel like that's still the area that takes them from contender to title.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, you hate to put it all on him, but it is the number one. If you're listing priorities of things that need to get better and change, you got to start with him. There's no question.
Tatum's consistency, everybody will point to that, right? Everybody will point to that. And I get it. But I do think there's a little, probably too much on him to have to do everything creation-wise. Am I wrong there or no? Am I being unfair? You guys know
not LeBron.
I'm a card kid. Listen, I'm the president of the Tatum fan club. I get it. So I need you guys to push back on me sometimes when I may not be objective when it comes to Jason Tatum. But I feel like too much is on him at the end of games instead of nobody making it easier for him.
Well, he's not LeBron James. I mean, we talked about that,
right.
And there was, and Jason Tatum had a ways to go when he came out of college. We knew that he was a laid back guy. Would he have the killer instinct? Could he be that leader? And I think he's doing the best he can. But I think at the end of the day, you are what you are. When you look at the greats, you look at Jordan, you look at LeBron, they're killers. And even LeBron, sometimes we wondered if he was enough of a killer and he had to grow into that. Yes. But he's not LeBron. He's not Magic. He's not Larry. He's not, he's not in that group. So yes, he does need help. Yes, he does. He needs a Robin to his Batman, and that's what we thought Brown was going to be.
Yeah.
But I'm just wondering if Brown needs a new environment. The guy seems to be a shell of himself. He's getting worse, not better. And
I disagree with that. I'll push back on that. I don't think he's getting worse. I just don't think he's getting better in the areas, especially in the playoffs, that they need him to get better at, which are putting the ball on the floor and making good decisions.
Well,
that's the area.
See, a problem, Gary, in this with him discussing right now is that our last memory of him was so bad. That one game, that game with 8 turnovers. Yeah, that's a number that's going to be hung around his neck until unless they ever win a championship. Is the 8 turnovers, and that's why I say that's correctable. I'm sorry, but that's the thing. We have a negative feeling about him. We have to be. This is what when I was kiddingly saying, and seriously, now I wouldn't have been kidding, that the team needed to shut everything down for 2 weeks and go on vacation and don't do anything rash. It would have been very easy to do something rash in the aftermath of that memory of his terrible Game 7. But
that's not Brad Stevens, though. That is not Brad. That's
him.
The one beauty of Brad, in a way, is he's not like the rest of us.
Yeah. So
he's not going to knee jerk this thing.
No, right. So anyway, I don't want to overkill. I don't want to be guilty of overkill. I'm burying the guy. The guy averaged 25 points a game. The guy is he's a very useful player, but he's not perfect. And nobody's perfect, but he's not perfect. And it frustrates us because we see things that we are waiting to see improve. Now we got 2 years worth of damn it. They climb up the mountain, but not all the way. And he's the most obvious target, and so I don't want to get overdo it. That's all.
Okay. Let's get to the draft. The Celtics pick 35th. Jeff, we're not even looking at that, right? I mean,
quick fans. Who was last year's draft number one?
What's that?
Stop 1 million people on the street and ask them who the number one pick was last year, and find out how many know.
Yeah.
Well, and it flipped. I mean. The crazy thing of this draft is obviously it's a draft of Victor Wembanyama. We know that.
Right.
But it's still like how many casual basketball fans, like Bob had trouble pronouncing Victor's last name before we started this. Like everybody. That's what I'm saying. Like for Adrian Wojnarowski to go on there and say, like, this is the most hyped prospect we've ever had in draft history. It's like, no, like we had LeBron. He's not even close because LeBron was here. Now I know social media is different, but it wasn't even close. I covered LeBron, and obviously, I've been around for a long time in this whole Victor thing. Obviously, Victor, yes, he's hyped because of 7'4", and he's super skilled. I mean, he is super skilled. He's going to be fun to watch. The big key is obviously whether he stays healthy or not. And the other thing is he's going to be playing for a shitty San Antonio team, guys.
Right.
So LeBron quickly made Cleveland contenders with a bad team around him. Some not very good players around him. Remember, he took him to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Right.
Quickly. Victor's not taking San Antonio to the Western Conference Finals anytime soon, guys.
Okay, you said 7'4". 7'4". How much does he weigh?
He's like 200, right?
Yeah, he's like I think he's probably 220 or something. But
right.
But he's got the ability, unlike Chet Holmgren, to put on some weight. Like he could be. If you look at pictures of Anthony Davis at the same time, they probably had a similar frame. I mean, this kid's a little bit skinnier than Anthony Davis was, but Anthony Davis was very, very, very thin, guys. And now he's put on weight. Jason Tatum was pretty thin, and look at him now. So, like, this kid's got the ability, and the one thing, talking to people around him, and I talked to Devontae Jones, his point guard, over there in France. Devontae played at Michigan. So I talked to him for a while. He said, this kid's training regimen, it's unbelievable. The things he does for flexibility, to prepare himself with a trainer, because he understands his body. He knows his body could be one that, again, might not last in the NBA. He comes in hours before. Like, they rave about him. His work ethic, his leadership, his willingness and want to win over just being the number one pick. Like, this kid's got the whole package. But again, to ask him to be like, there are very few guys who live up to the hype like LeBron did. Like, I don't know if there's ever been one. Has there ever been one, Bob?
Guys, yeah, I've written about this. In fact, I did write about it a couple of months ago. Most great top of the mountain players in basketball that the one named stars that we know, most of them are actually better than their hype, than they were thought to be. Ultimately, most, the exceptions are, for example, Larry and Magic. Even they turned out to be, particularly Larry, definitely better than people thought. There were skeptics that would question him. The most hyped player who I think lived up to everything is Kareem. He was the greatest high school player and arguably greatest college player of all time, both. And look what he became Kareem, 6-time champion, multiple however many champions, and 6-time MVP and all that. And he's just top of the mountain. He's Wilt was another one. Wilt was very well known, but LeBron is right there. LeBron is an exception. No, so definitely this kid has a lot.
I'm saying, like, to say this kid is like to live up to the hype. I mean, it's going to be so hard. And
Sure.
And again, you got to somehow find some guys around Victor. But it's the draft of Victor, and then you got a bunch of guys after him, Gary, that really can't shoot the ball. Right? Scoot Henderson come up from the G League. He's a point guard in the Derrick Rose type. That's what type of player he is, if you want to think that way. Then you got the Thompson twins, Asar and Amen. They are 6'7", freak athletes. One's kind of they made him into a point guard. The other's a wing. They can't shoot. Anthony Black, freshman at Arkansas last year, long, thin point guard, can't shoot. Cam Whitmore, a wing, Villanova freshman, okay shooter, not a very good shooter. So your next like 6 guys in an era in which you need to be able to shoot, can't really shoot right now. So that worries me a little bit. Then you got 2 shooters behind them, Grady Dick, Kansas freshman, 40% from 3, an elite shooter. Like the floor on him will be Kyle Korver. He'll be better than that. He may not be the 45% shooter Kyle Korver was from 3, but I think he can be a 40% 3-point shooter. And then you got Jordan Hawkins from UConn, who shoots the absolute shit out of the ball as well.
Yeah, but it's still it's going to be a night. Most people are going to go, who?
Yeah.
I mean,
a lot of them because of the G League, because of Scoot, Scoot and the Thompsons and Victor. 4 guys the average fan has never really heard their name
Right.
before recently.
So
And
it's taken for me. It's I used to really look forward to it, and enjoy it, but I can't get into it obviously the way.
Well, everyone is so young.
yeah, that's
That's the thing. That's another element. You mentioned Kareem. He had 4 years of college, and he was 22, and LeBron did not. I mean, LeBron was right. Boom.
He's over had
18, 19 years old, right? I mean, coming on the
half
scene.
his life is over half his life on this earth has been spent in the NBA.
Yeah, and that's just. I think that is just. Well, it's a tribute to LeBron. But
no.
I think it's very hard. I mean, God, I have a son who's 18.
Another example, Jeff, just in Exhibit A of talk about better than the hype was Michael.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
like,
Michael Jordan was not known outside the state of North Carolina as going to college.
Yep.
As period. And was the third pick in the draft. And and really the first time more people than ACC folks got a whiff of what he might theoretically become was the '84 Olympics, and Bob Knight sang his praises at that time.
Yeah.
But he was, let's face it, as much as good as Elijah One was, and we know, and he's my all-time number 4 center. Michael Jordan's a higher being at that point.
Right.
And poor Sam Bowie who got hurt, and that's another story. But
anyway. The youth.
Michael's Exhibit A. Michael exhibited all.
Here's the other thing that this draft is interesting on, guys, is there were a bunch of guys that were really hyped coming into college. Okay, that were the highest rated guys. Nick Smith from Arkansas was one. Keontae George at Baylor. Derek Lively was another one who went to Duke. And I'm trying to think. There's one more that I'm forgetting about right now.
Monty Bates.
Well, Monty's going to be a second rounder.
Yeah, he was his cover boy in Sports Illustrated.
Yeah, 2 years ago when coming into Memphis. So those three: Nick Smith, Keontae George, Derek Lively. Again, I might be forgetting one here. All three of those guys might go outside the top 10. And talented, just didn't have the type of years. Nick Smith was hurt a lot at Arkansas. I really like him. Like, I saw him a couple of years ago in AAU. He just was hurt most of his season at Arkansas. Lively never showed that he could shoot the three or do anything besides block shots. I saw him shoot the three a couple of years ago in the AAU circuit. And then Keontae George, who didn't guard anybody at Baylor, but kind of is a good scorer who's just not a great athlete. So, like, a lot of these guys have kind of fallen down a little bit, and it's almost like you can buy low with some of these guys. Now, they're not getting a 35 for the Celtics, but one name that is going to be on the board when the Celtics draft, Bob just mentioned, is Amani Bates at 35, the former SI cover boy of 15, went to Memphis for a year, then transferred to Eastern Michigan, got in a little bit of trouble, can really, really score the ball, but can't guard anybody, can't guard Bob. I mean, Bob could legitimately score on Amani Bates right now.
In the old days, in recent years, the big question was who will be the first 4-year player, and that's been supplanted now. Who'll be the first 7-footer?
Yeah.
And that the world is so different.
It'll be Derek Lively because he can run and jump. That's why, not because he can shoot threes, but because he can run and jump. It'll be Derek Lively. Can I give you a couple names for the Celtics 35th pick that I like? So you guys know this guy too, and it's a little homerism for me because my daughter goes to Indiana, but Trace Jackson Davis at Indiana.
Oh yeah, I like him.
Who is a athletic, live big man who blocks shots. The big knock on him was he didn't play hard before this past year. He was the second best player in college basketball this year. He'll probably go early in the second round. And with Horford getting older and Big Rob being unavailable a lot, Trace can play some small ball 5. And, man, he can run, he can jump, he can put in the floor and get by dudes. He's not your typical 5-man. He's probably more 4 than 5. But these days in the NBA, he's super athletic.
Right.
The NBA now is so different. You see lineups out there where nobody over 6'7", 6'8", both ways at times, which was unheard of 30 years ago, 20 years ago, 15, even 10 years ago. and that's the way. So right, so it's a different it is a different game, yeah, and you have to make concessions for that.
Yep.
Jeff,
So that's one. I would say this: you have like Trace isn't much of a shooter, but at the 5-man spot, who cares, right? You're fine there. But anybody else you're drafting now, again, please, Brad Stevens, anybody else you draft that's not a 5-man, make sure they can shoot the ball from 3. Like really shoot it.
Right.
Like not kind of shoot it. Make sure they can really shoot the ball from 3, because otherwise they're just not going to fit in your system. Like there's other guys I love Andre Jackson. UConn, won a national title, could guard anybody, can't shoot. Like, no, we don't need more average shooters on the Celtics. Need guys that can really, really shoot the hell out of the ball. Now, I don't know who that is necessarily at 35. But again, that, Julian Strawther is a guy from Gonzaga, 6'9", 6'8", who can really shoot it. He'd be a role guy. Or you just go with talent and just say, you know what? Julian Phillips is a kid that I really love. A wing, a multi-dimensional wing. Didn't do much at Tennessee as a freshman. Not like can shoot. He's just going to be a G League guy for probably a year and not give you anything. But he can learn also G League play, learn from Tatum as a wing scorer a little bit, and maybe you can flip them or develop them.
Okay. Hey, before we wrap, we have someone here that has the authority to speak. Your reaction and thoughts on the Bob Huggins situation, Jeff?
Yeah, this is hard for me, Bob. This is really hard because I like Bob Huggins a lot. I really like Bob Huggins
Jeff, let's
a lot.
fill in the background.
So Bob Huggins got fired. West Virginia, 69 years old, got fired.
Well, he technically resigned to save being fired.
Forced to resign. How's that? Forced to resign.
Right.
The official termination was resignation. He was basically forced.
Yeah, we know he was fired.
He got pulled over for DUI over the weekend, and he blew like a 0.2. I mean, it was a ridiculous number. Bob's had issues with alcohol throughout his career and life. He also had an issue 6 weeks ago making a homophobic slur on a radio show in Cincinnati. So they gave him another chance. Well, obviously, 6 weeks later to do this, he was gone, and he should have been. Listen, I'm not defending Bob Huggins in any way for his actions. You can't do this, not just for yourself, but obviously you're putting other people's lives at risk.
You have a right to feel let down. That's let down. I mean, the guy let his people.
A lot of people
got him let down.
He let players. He let coaches who, by the way, their contracts are going to expire in 2 weeks. Oh. So he let a lot of people down. All right. So having said that, and what a bonehead, stupid decision this was by Bob Huggins, I will say this: he's getting crucified. I'll speak to the positive of Bob Huggins. That everybody you talk to who Bob Huggins has ever coached as a player or as an assistant coach will have nothing but good things to say about Bob Huggins. That he is selfless. He is all about his players and coaches and helping them and holding them accountable. Now, did he hold himself accountable? No, he didn't in this situation. But holding his players accountable in an era in which most coaches don't give a shit, he actually is trying to, and he gives a lot of guys second chances. Back to his days of Cincinnati, a lot of them. So again, I wrestle with this, but I hope Bob Huggins' legacy, which is very, very complicated, is it this at the end of the day? Because he's still a hell of a coach who, again, did it his way. There was no bullshit with Bob Huggins. You knew where you stood with him.
Yeah. Well, I will say to anyone listening that I'm very much taken by what Jeff has said. I've only been in his presence a couple of times, and I enjoyed his company in a social circumstance. Yeah. And that I would recommend a column written by John Feinstein that is available to you from the Washington Post. Go check it out. Echoing many of the things that Jeff has said about the guy. Complicated. We're all flawed human beings. We're all complicated. Yeah. This is a he's lighting a torch to a legacy and a career. I mean, he's absolutely. It's so sad. That's what it is. It's sad. You know that he has this. It's obviously a serious problem if he because it's a scary story. With
well, in this day and age, with
one of those deals, we're lucky nobody got killed. It's one of those.
Well,
deals.
yeah, I mean, in this day and age with Uber and alternative transportation,
I know
the DUI thing is you gotta.
So, but
yeah, you gotta shake your head at that and the slur.
But this is one of the fill in the blank 10 greatest coaches, the most noted coaches of our time, maybe one of the 5 most noted coaches of our time.
Help me. Did he win a national title at Cincinnati?
No. But he
should have. If Kenyon Martin didn't get hurt, he would have.
Kenyon Martin.
If Kenyon Martin doesn't get hurt, they were a prohibitive favorite in 1990.
Kenyon Martin. That was it. Yeah.
They're a prohibitive favorite that year if Kenyon Martin doesn't get hurt.
He went to 2 Final Fours. The last one. The memory that a lot of people need to Google if they haven't, if they forget, is when Deshaun Butler in the Final Four blew out his knee, and Bob Huggins got right down next
on the floor
and consoled him and was emotional. And I was told, listen, I talked to somebody who was in the room when Huggins delivered the news that he was going to retire to the players the other day, and they said Hugs broke down. He broke down. I mean, not so much for him. More for, again, letting down, like Bob said, letting down all those players, of which a few of them came to play for him, big-time transfers. They had big-time NIL that was raised by Huggins. The big question in West Virginia now is also, who's next? Who do they hire? Because Huggins was West Virginia.
Oh,
right. He was. He went to school there. He fit perfectly.
Yep.
And again, it's the only game in town. So he was so connected to the money people there that they were giving crazy NIL to Jesse Edwards from Syracuse and a kid named Kirk Risa, a point guard from Arizona. And now if they don't hire a Huggins guy, mainly Andy Kennedy, do all these kids leave or hire from within, which I don't think is going to happen.
Well, anyway, it's a sad story.
We will wrap up on this note that a man that Bob Ryan is very familiar with throughout his career. What did you think when Jeff told you that Larry Brown at 82 years old is going to be an assistant at the University of Washington?
I'm not shocked because anything that involves Larry Brown is, in this realm, is not shocking to those of us who have any knowledge about him. He just can't stay in. He can't stay in the house. He just got to get out of the house. He can't help himself. Yeah. And it's where he is. God, you know what? It's kind of charming. Obviously, he's 82 and he
loves it.
And I say, I kiddingly have said for years, and I'm not. I don't think this was an original thought, but it's so long-standing that I can't remember where I heard it or whether I'd like to think I came up with it. But Larry Brown would be happy if they never had to play a game. He wants to teach, quote unquote. He always tell the world, I'm a teacher. Now they got to play the stupid game. That's no fun. I want to go back in the gym and a closed door. And that's Larry Brown. I've been acquainted it goes back when he was coaching the Carolina Cougars.
Right, ABA.
And the head of the team, Carl Shear, loved the Celtics and worshipped red and so he made sure that they scheduled the Celtics in the NBA exhibition games. So I discovered him, saw him and met him. So that's how far back I go in the circa 1973.
Since Carolina Cougars. Ready, Bob?
Yeah, go ahead. I want to hear the list.
All right, ready? Denver Nuggets, UCLA, New Jersey Nets, Kansas, San Antonio Spurs, Los Angeles Clippers, Indiana Pacers, 76ers, Detroit Pistons, New York Knicks, Charlotte Bobcats, SMU, a team overseas, Memphis assistant, and now likely the Washington Huskies. How about that? That's a lot of jobs.
Let me ask you this.
In all fairness, one of those is the Nuggets are the Cougars. So
right.
There's one fewer. There's one fewer.
I didn't know that.
Okay, so but when I think of Larry Brown, is there anyone who was more successful in college and pro? Because he won a national title at Kansas.
Only man. He's the only person, right?
He's the only one. Yeah, he's the
only person that's won an NCAA championship and an NBA championship. Yes. Yeah, that's right.
Also the only one who's gotten, I think 3 different schools on probation in college.
There's always a method to the madness.
Yeah.
All right, guys, always a pleasure. Bob Ryan, Jeff Goodman, Tanguay Along for the Ride podcast, brought to you by our good friends at FanDuel. Baseball season is in full swing. There's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. All right, gents, we'll talk next week, and we will be breaking down Jeff's trip or his covering of the NBA draft. See you, gents.
CLNS Media's Celtics coverage is brought to you by FanDuel. New customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's bonus bets back if your first bet doesn't win.